So, touching silver was a big subject I did a few weeks ago, and boy oh boy, that video took off. And if you wanted something that you can really get your hands on and touch and enjoy, then solid silver six-sided dice are probably going to be the thing that you want to try and get hold of. Unfortunately, we've been quite busy and have made a bunch of them. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and welcome to another Precious Metal Ramble, all about some of my own bits of poured silver that I've been working very hard on over this last couple of weeks. And these I do think represent the best pieces of silver that I've ever made as a poured silver artist and fledgling silversmith. I'm so proud of them, and I'm really happy to showcase them and share them with you all here on YouTube. Now, if you're interested in grabbing any of these dice, then we do have two listed on our website right now. They're immediately available for dispatch, already done and hallmarked. But there is also going to be a pair of listings for the two different styles. In fact, we have two different styles of dice if you would like to pre-order. We are going to make limited numbers. I'll close it without notice because each one of these dice takes hours to make. I think it's about 3 hours per dice on average, and that's fine. I absolutely love making them, but they are a pain to make. They certainly do take a lot of energy and effort and time. But they are there on our website. If you're interested, there are links down in the description below. Of course, because they take so long to make and they are, pretty difficult to make, the price, of course, is at a premium, and that's something not to be ignored. But these are, I think, something just a little bit different to your standard piece of poured silver, for example, with lovely ripples. It does represent, I think, a real kind of growth in my skill set as a silversmith, going from just simply pouring something into a mold and getting a really nice finish and taking the time to stamp it correctly, to actually machining these, and real hard ways to do it with the setup that we've got here in the Backyard Bullion household. Literally, the kitchen table is what I film off and what I work off. You've probably seen some of my other videos where we've got the belt sander out on the table, and I literally do just work from my kitchen. Hopefully one day I'll have a whole fledgling workshop for myself, but for right now that's how I do it. So it is, I think, an achievement to have these made, and I'm so happy with the way that they have turned out. I do want to put a personal thanks here to the Silver Forum members who commissioned these dice to begin with. Started out with one gentleman who just asked publicly, is there anyone that could make them? And I've done a dice before. It was a very long time ago, but it was a cube mold that I had, but it wasn't a perfect cube. It was kind of like not tiered, angled mold so that you could get it out of the mold. And it was fine, but it really wasn't a dice as you might sort of expect it to be. So I knew I could do better, and this was the opportunity to do it. So I volunteered. I just got in touch with the guy straight away, and I said, I can do it. I know I can do it. I haven't got an example of what they'll look like, but I'm going to put my heart and soul into this, and I have. And then two other people took the leap of faith with me as well after getting in touch. So we have these three pairs of dice, 6 dice, all done, which are going off to their new owners, and I've made 2 spares as well along the way. In fact, I've made 1 extra spare as well because we've got 9 here, and that's because I'm keeping 1 for myself. This is the prototype dice. This is the one that I made to begin with. It's the more traditional, well, it's less traditional, I suppose, because it's got the numbers stamped on it. It's more traditional for me because I'm a Dungeons and Dragons nerd, and I've always been using dice with the actual numbers on rather than pips, which is, of course, what the other dice are here. However, of course, the customer gets what the customer wants, and those more traditional pipped dice were what they wanted, so that's absolutely fine too. But I made this as the first one, as the prototype, the kind of proof of concept for myself, and it came out so well. I was so happy with it that I decided right there and then, I'm keeping this. This is my special dice for special occasions within my own Dungeons and Dragons games. Now, we haven't hallmarked this one because I don't need to. I'm never going to sell it. It's going to be mine forever. I'm going to die with this dice, I think. But the hallmarks are on all of the others, and they are laser etched on. And we'll talk a little bit about why that is in a moment. But you might be able to see that the 6 itself is sat just a touch lower on this prototype dice than the others. And that's because, well, it's a prototype. I didn't quite know how to sort of stamp it all and expect. And originally the plan was to actually hallmark on the side of the one, down each side of the one. But the sort of inspiration came when on a lot of these other Dungeons and Dragons dice, you often do get a line underneath the 6s and the 9s to delineate which way round they are, because of course it looks like a 9 the opposite way round. So it's seated a little bit too low there to look, I think, good. So this is now officially mine, my prototype dice, which I shall keep, and it shall be mine for henceforth known as the Backyard Bullion dice. And they do roll really very nicely as well. I'm rolling here on a mouse mat. I find that it's actually the best surface to do it. It's got a bit of give, a little bit of squidginess to it. You know, rolling on the table, I don't want to do this because I'm going to dent my table. They do roll, but I don't really want to roll it very hard because I will dent the table. You know, these are heavy things at the end of the day, around 3 ounces each of 909 fine silver, and of course, you know, the corners have been sanded down, the edges have been sanded down to aid that rolling. Some, like the prototype there, you know, we haven't quite taken as much off as some of the others. We've rounded them out a little bit more. If we can get the camera in focus. I do apologise, the lighting's awful here today. But yeah, they are super smooth. Like, you can really feel around them. There's no sharp edges, there's no sharp corners, and as a consequence, they do roll, I think, exceptionally well. They are as perfect a cube as I can get them here in my own little kitchen table workshop. I've got digital calipers, which I've been getting out and measuring each of the cube's sides, and you know, super happy with the effort that I've put into these. I do think that they represent, as I said, a growth in my own sort of development as a silversmith. Now, part of that growth and development is learning how to actually do these and make these. So a few of them you'll see that, you know, the pips are not 100% perfect. So these pips here, ever so slightly off. You know, working out a way of getting those to be as perfect as possible was difficult for me. I had to work it out. We ended up actually using a very fine pencil to draw various different lines on, but I even found that even if you had measured it exactly and got the tool that I'm using to punch these holes in, that it wasn't always as perfect as it could be. And that's, I think, the next stage for me to try and work out how to get the pips absolutely perfect. One of the other things I learned as well is, of course, when stamping into silver, the silver has to go somewhere. So silver is a malleable metal. When you punch into it, you're basically moving the silver that was in where the hole is to somewhere else. And that often will cause bruising and bulges, almost, not necessarily bulges in the traditional sense of it, but slight changes in the surface of the area that you're stamping on. So you can see here on this one here, we've got this sort of deep indentation of the 6. So this was a particularly deep strike that I was doing on these. I thought, you know, it would be great to get as deep a hole as possible for the pips. But that, of course, comes with its counterpoints, where if you go too deep, or, you know, an extra bit of depth on them, you often get these little... in fact, one of the customers I'm selling these to said they're like artifacts on there, sort of different things that you can see about the dice. So, you know, going forward to making other dice when we were stamping later on, as you can see from this one, if the camera ever focuses, come on, there we go, that we've got much cleaner and crisp holes because we haven't gone as deep. The only consideration is that these holes are not going to be quite as large as the others. So again, it's, you know, it's getting them positioned right, but also getting the amount of depth and strike energy that goes into making them, which of course plays a factor into how they'll turn out and look in the end too. So there's a lot still I feel that I can develop as a silversmith to get these to even further of a next level in time, but I still am exceptionally proud of them and the way that they've turned out. I really must say that I do think it's representing a step in a direction that I would love to follow even further into the future, of growing as a silversmith, as producing things of beauty out of silver. And whilst I am currently working off the kitchen table with belt sanders and anvils and hammers and things, it would be fantastic one day to have that workshop, to be able to really take this adventure to the next level in terms of that silversmithing, that creation. You know, it's exceptionally cathartic to be creative in life, and it's one thing that I will miss if I ever stop doing this. And it's to the point where I can never really see myself truly stopping being creative. And talking as somebody who's, prior to starting YouTube and pouring silver and doing everything that I'm doing now, was not a very creative person, it's changed my life. So yeah, I'm rambling. Who would know it, eh? It's a Backyard Bullion ramble. So there we have our 6-sided dice made of solid 999 silver. If you are interested, as I said at the beginning of the video, perhaps even by this point in the video, who knows, they won't be available. But the 2 that we had that are spares are listed for sale on my website. We've also got pre-order listings or pre-sale listings for the 2 different designs, the Dungeons and Dragons style with the number stamped in and the more traditional pip styles. As I said, I don't know quite how many I'm going to want to sell. I'll have the listing up probably for 5 of each so that I make a batch of 10 again. You know, these took about 3 hours per dice. So, you know, it's a good week's worth of work to make these, and we will endeavour to do more in time, but you know, I've got to be mindful of what's going on in life, in personal life. I work off the kitchen table, you know, life gets in the way. And of course, we've got the busy period of Christmas coming up as well. I mean, these will be ready before Christmas if you order now. Great Christmas gifts to give if you can. So yeah, there we have them. If you're interested, links are down below. Get in touch also by email. That's fine if you want to order directly through emails. Otherwise, that is it from me. A huge thank you to you all for watching and for listening to me ramble on about my own successes. I know I don't really like doing these videos. I think, like a lot of people think, you know, harping on about your own successes is quite vain. I think typically I've been described as quite a humble person when it comes to my own successes, and I think that this is worthy of sharing because it is a growth, it is a development of my skill. And I hope you guys understand that and have enjoyed that. I'd love to know if you are a Cool Kids Club member and your feedback on that. So feel free to comment down below. If you're in the Backyard Bullion Rambling Society, then you are most welcome for watching until minute 12 of the rambles about my silver dice. That's it from me. Thank you one and all for watching. We'll see you on the next video. And as always, please make sure that you like, share, comment and subscribe for more.